A years-long cross-country journey is coming to an end for one Wisconsin man.
Only our Danica Lewis caught up with him as he was finishing up his trip that was all inspired by a life of love. Danica?
This is an absolutely amazing story, Susan and Eric. In the words of his kids, for a farm boy from Wisconsin, Chuck Wagner has had quite the life. And that continues, thanks in no small part to his wife.
You are well prepared for whatever is ahead.
As a man of faith, Chuck Wagner is used to following someone else's plan.
You are God's child, and he will keep you in his care.
Sometimes that plan is typed out in scripture. Other times,
And leave things of the future to fate.
it's scribbled down on notebook paper.
Now I just love to see and do things, and it all came from her.
Chuck can recite the memories like Bible verses, like that time he was deployed in Hawaii and poked his head in between an Air Force buddy and Lorraine.
I knew I had somebody who would be with me through thick and thin.
And that time he married her right here at St. Paul's, just minutes away from where he grew up.
And we were never apart for the next 48 years, 11 months.
Or that time they moved their lives to Arizona and raised their family.
You know, I've got those memories. Nobody's going to take that from me.
Or that time Lorraine got sick. And that time 2 years ago when she was no longer around.
It's just been a great life, and I just wish she was still here with me to share it.
In a way,
Yep.
she is.
This is all her writing of statements that throughout her life were important to her.
Before she died, Lorraine laid out how she wanted to be laid to rest.
When you're in Memphis, go to Chickasaw Gardens. Sprinkle some of my ashes in the pond.
And how she wanted Chuck to make memories in honor of hers.
Go to the Cape and ashes in the Banana River. I mean, she wrote all this stuff. This is her instruction to us as to what to see.
Following Lorraine's itinerary, Chuck's driven more than 11,000 miles across the country, seen places she grew up, places she taught, visiting old friends, and letting go of the loss. Even going back to that hotel where they met and releasing some of her ashes off the coast of Hawaii.
And I firmly believe that. When we went through some of these things that we've gone through on these journeys, she's guided us in a way. So I haven't had a drink since 1983, but I had a beer at the airliner bar because she told me I had to do that.
Chuck's on the last leg of his last trip from Lorraine, which brought him back through his home state to that church.
I love what I'm doing right now.
While he wishes the love of his life was still here, Chuck knows following her wishes, her plan,
To make wonderful memories every day.
is all part of his.
Lorraine's love lives forever, and I think that's the way it is. And I was blessed to find her.
Chuck is now headed to South Dakota, where he does want to stop, by the way, at Mount Rushmore, a landmark he and Lorraine saw just after he left the Air Force, came back stateside, and they were moving to Whitewater. And in true poetic fashion, Chuck's kids have the exact GPS point where they released Lorraine's ashes out in the Pacific, so Chuck's ashes can be set out to sea in that same spot.
Wow, beautiful story, and she was with him every step of the way.
Every single step of the way. Every time he sees a butterfly, he says, "Hi, hun."
Oh.
Very neat story. All right, Danica Lewis.
Don't make me cry, Danica.
Sorry, Susan. Sorry, he's awesome.
That's a great story.
Thanks, Danica.